as our next guest. So welcome to the stage, Paul Clewell.
Tune up, enjoy, and absorb everything that's going on around you. Stop thinking about yesterday, what could have been, and what should have been, and stop worrying about tomorrow. Focus on today.
Who did that video? It was the first time seeing it. It was news to me. Thank you, whoever did that. It was something, thank you. So my heart still flutters every time I hear my good friend James Dixon tell his story. And it's such an inspiring story, and every time, and I've heard it multiple times, and every time it melts me. So thank you, brother. Thank you for you as a gift. You are a gift. Thank you for all you're doing in the world. It's just so inspiring. So, as Rhonda said, my name is Paul Clewell. I come from Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm a New Yorker. I know you can't hear it in my voice. I have a very neutral accent. I grew up upstate. I've been in Atlanta since 1997. So, I want to provide some nuggets, some business nuggets for you today. And I also want to tell a story. But I want to tell a story to, it's a mindset piece, right? So some of you are here for some business knowledge, to hear some business ideas, things like that you can leave with today, and I promise you we're going to do that. And when I talk to a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, and I ask them, like, what do you want to do with your business? They say, well, I want to grow, I want to scale, I want to have a $10 million business or a $25 million business. And those are all really good things, but none of those things can ever happen if you don't have the right mindset, right? Thinking about what you want to do with your business and how you want to invest in it and how you want to grow it, and all those things, those are good. But without a proper mindset, it gets you nowhere. So there are so many people out there that speak about mindset, right? You see the social media posts, you see the courses and the books, there's more than we could ever count. So I don't want to bore you with mindset, but I want to lay a little bit of groundwork. And I'm going to tell you, gosh, my story is nowhere near. And by the way, every time we speak, I always have to follow James Dixon. It's a tough act to follow. His story is better than mine. His speaking is better than mine. His voice is stronger than mine. His dress attire is better than mine. And I always get stuck coming in after James. But I'm up for the challenge. So I do want to tell you a little bit about my story, only because I want you, hopefully somebody can use it as a case study. And what I mean by that is, we all live with fear of something. Right? We all have fear of rejection, or fear of failure, or fear of not being known, or fear of embarrassment. There's all these fears. I, for many, many years, struggled with this thing called fear of abandonment. I was afraid of being left alone, and I want to tell you a little bit of the backstory so you can understand how I got to where I am, and then we'll get into some real juicy stuff. I grew up in upstate New York, in an old country farmhouse that was built in the 1830s. And it was a generational house. So my dad and his siblings had grown up there. My grandfather before that had grown up there. And when I was about 5, 6 years old, my parents were very young. They were in their early 20s when I was born. They did not have a very good relationship, a marital relationship. And my dad worked a night shift up in the Albany area. And at night, I have a little sister who's 4 years younger than me. So when I was 5, 6-ish years old, my dad would be at work at night, and my mom would leave the house. in the middle of the night as well, often. Never knew why. Certainly I can speculate now as an adult why, but I never asked the question, and I really don't care to know. But what I want to share with you is that as a 6-year-old kid, my mom would leave the house in the middle of the night. My little sister would be asleep. I think she probably assumed that I was also in bed, asleep. And I would sit in their bedroom upstairs window, and I would look down the road, and it wasn't a street. We didn't have street lights or anything like that. It was just a country road. And I would sit at the end of that bed for hours, waiting for a set of headlights to come down that road, praying to God that it was one of my parents coming home. And I would end up falling asleep on my parents' bed. I'd wake up in the morning in my own bed, under the assumption that when one of them came home in the middle of the night, they'd move me into my own bedroom. So I didn't understand how to process this as a kid. And there was a time where alcoholism had affected our family, and it was my dad's way of escaping the grind of life, if you will. And I can remember him coming home at times, and the two of them would get into these heated debates. Sometimes it got physical. And for my dad to escape this tension at home, he would go out to the local bar and drink. And I remember there were so many times where he would want to leave the house. And as a kid, I would wrap my arms and legs around his leg and beg him not to leave me, not to leave his family. And he always did. He always left. Now, I'm not saying my dad and I today have an amazing relationship and we love each other deeply, but we went through a lot of things growing up. So I got used to, as a child, I got used to accepting being alone. Because I was always so afraid that someone was going to leave me, I was going to be abandoned, that I just got used to accepting the fact that I may be left alone. When I grew up in this small town, and in the summertime, we would ride our bikes down to the local baseball field. And of course, we didn't have cell phones back then, but all of us neighborhood kids would go to the ball field, we would plan the week out, right? We were going to meet at the baseball field, we were going to play baseball, blah, 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 get on our bikes, go get a Coke, go find some extra quarters on the sidewalk, and go buy some candy, and we would do this all summer. And I showed up to the baseball field one day, and I would be the one to bring all the bats and the balls, and I was such an enthusiast about this. I showed up one day and nobody's there, and I waited and waited and waited. Come to find out that one of the moms had taken all of my friends to this local swimming hole, if you will, where you jump off this cliff in the water. And they didn't invite me, and no one told me they were going. And I waited around all day, and I finally realized, well, go figure. Once again, I've been abandoned and left alone. So this stuck with me through my middle school years into high school. So when I got into high school, I defaulted, in middle school really, I defaulted to sports. So I was a standout athlete, football, baseball, played football in college. And the only reason I tell you that is because being on the field of play with teammates who were wearing the same uniform as I was wearing was the only place that I could identify as being part of a team. Being with people who needed me and wanted me around, because I really never felt it before. So when I got to high school, that was where I thrived, on the field of play. Off the field, I had a high school sweetheart, right? We all know what that's like. And, prom king and queen, and captain of the football team, captain of the baseball team, all that stuff, right? Those accolades. But I always kept everybody at an arm's distance, even my closest friends, even that high school sweetheart. And the reason was because in any of those relationships that I had, I wanted to be in control of when that relationship was going to end. Because I was so afraid that that person was going to abandon me and leave me, like I've been so used to in my childhood, that I wanted to keep everybody just far enough away so that when I was ready to cut the cord, it wouldn't be devastating. So this affected me for a long time. I get into college, and I meet a girl who was the only person who really understood this challenge of this fear of abandonment that I lived with and had endured with. And that girl, at the time that I was dating, is my wife today. We've been married almost 30 years this coming year. But my point to that is, as I got out of college and I started my corporate career, I did the exact same thing that I'd done my entire childhood. Every business and company that I had worked for, I had kept them at arm's length. And after just a couple of years of working at one place, I would think to myself, God, at some point in time, they are going to end this relationship. So I can't handle that. So let me end the relationship on my terms. So I would quit. I go work somewhere else. A couple of years, I quit. Go leave somewhere else. And I did well. It's not that I didn't do well, but I never allowed anybody to get close to me. So fast forwarding a bunch of years, I'm going back maybe just a year or so now. Good friend of mine, Annie Yatch, who works with the CIA and Navy SEALs and Olympic athletes. She's a transformational coach. And I said to Annie, I said, you gotta help me. I'm made for so much more. There's so much more that I want to do, and there's so much more that I want to give. But I've got this ceiling over me. I've got something about me that is not allowing me to give my true potential. And I can't figure it out, and I need your help. And this woman got inside of my brain, just the same way a kid grabs a remote control for a video console, and she forced me to dig deep into my soul and took me back to my childhood, to all of these stories that I'm sharing with you that I never would have even thought of again if I wasn't forced to have to go back and visit those dark places again. So we started connecting all these dots. And what it led me to was the idea and the acknowledgement of this fear of abandonment. And it's now gone, it's over. So my point to this whole story is we all live with fear of something. And it stops us from maximizing our potential and being the person we were really meant to be, so that we can have impact on the world and impact on other people, right? And I look at myself in the mirror sometimes today, Rhonda alluded to this a little bit with the introduction. I could never be a COO of a publicly traded company that is on its way to a $2 to $3 billion valuation in the next 18 months if I didn't address, acknowledge, and deal with this deep-rooted fear. I could never be a Grant Cardone 10X coach impacting businesses at scale if I never acknowledged and accepted and dealt with this fear that had just been pushing me down and keeping me down. So my point to the whole story is, if you can use this as a case study, that you can go from this alone, afraid kid to the COO of a publicly traded company. It doesn't happen by luck. It doesn't happen by coincidence. It happens by identifying who you really are and going deep, deep down in here, as much as it may hurt and as much as it may be agonizing. You've got to go to those places to root that shit out. You really do. So I would encourage you, if anything is resonating, use that as a case study. That you have to go into where those fears are. Stop ignoring them, because they'll eat away at you even when you don't know they're eating away at you. I promise you. The science backs it up. So address your fears. Acknowledge them, address them, and deal with them, so that you can give all of you to the people you love and the people in this world who need you and need what you have to offer. So I would just encourage you to do that. So, that's that. So, where are we here on the slides? I haven't even looked at these yet. Who you got this, Andrew? Okay, so let's talk about some stats. Where are my business owners? Entrepreneurs, business owners? Yeah, a lot of you. Okay. I need, so we got what, maybe 100 people in here? I need 3 people to please stand up. Dennis, stand up. This young lady straight ahead of me, please stand up. No, yep. 1, 2, and one of you gentlemen over here, stand up. Any one of you. I'm not going to call you out, just stand up. Okay, so there's 3 out of 100. Okay, congratulations. You are the only 3 business owners, entrepreneurs in this room that will actually survive. Okay, you can sit down. My point is this: 97%, some of you may know these stats already, 97% of all businesses will fail in 10 years. Think about that. The odds are stacked against us. 97% of businesses fail in 10 years. 2/3 of those, 66%, will fail in the first 5 years. the odds are stacked against us. Yeah? There are 31.5 million businesses in the U.S. under $100 million a year. Of those, only 600,000 have more than 12 employees. Think about that. It's a mind-blowing statistic. So the odds are stacked against us. So I share that with you for a reason when I talk about the stats, because most businesses, again, so I'll go back to one other stat. Of those 31 million businesses in the United States, there are only less than 3% of those do $3 million or more. So the vast majority of you, and I don't know you, but I know this to be true based on stats, the vast majority of you are doing under $3 million a year. Is there anybody in the room with a business that does more than $3 million in revenue? One? Yeah. See, the stats are kind of real. Okay? So, the question is, why is it? Why is it that 97% of all businesses hit that $3 million mark and they're trapped? What is it? Why does that occur? Okay? It's not because you don't have knowledge. Right? It's not because you don't have desire. It's because growing and scaling a business, you may not believe me, but scaling your business is an algorithm. It's a very simple math equation. Okay? I could take any business in this room today, okay? And let's just say you're doing 250, 500,000, you're not quite to $1 million yet. Do I have anybody in that place? Do I have any business owners who have not hit $1 million yet? Yeah, of course, more hands go up. In 7 months, I can put your business into a $1 million revenue position with simple math. And I can guarantee that, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, at Cardone and in 10X, we have researched over 27,000 businesses to understand why they succeed, why they fail, where they fail, and the numbers, achievement levels of revenue of where they're at. Okay? And here's what you need to understand, and all this will be available to you after the fact. To scale a business to $3 million comes down to you. Okay? So there are what we call the 4 Ps that I want to share with you. And this is really critical because this is for anybody who's doing less than $3 million and you'd like to become a $3 million company. Here's your recipes for success. The recipe for success. So listen closely. There are 4 things. And in fact, let me ask you guys. If you want to get to $3 million in your business, tell me one thing that you would need to do. Just yell it out.
Hire more.
Hire people. Okay, people. What else?
Process.
Process. Yep. Boom. That's a P. It's one of the 2 of the P's. What's another one? Promote. My man. Thank you. There's one more. Oh my gosh. You guys nailed all 4. Did you look this up? Okay. Let me ask you this. So there they are. So we said people, we said profit, we said process, and we said promote. Help me put them in order. If you want to grow to a $3 million business, which one of those 4 P's is the most important thing? Who thinks it's people? People. Let me ask you a question. If I'm an elite business owner, which I am, if I want to come work for your company and you're doing $500,000 a year, and I'm in the prime of my life and I'm the best at what I do, tell me why I would come work for you if you haven't figured out how to promote your product or your service, if you haven't done it successfully and proven that you can make money doing it, and you don't have any processes in place that can support a talented person to come work for you, it ain't gonna happen, okay? So let's just put them in quick order, and I'm gonna tell you why. Promote is number 1. You have to figure out what it is, what do you do, why do you do it, and how do you promote it. Number 2, you have to do that at a profit, right? Makes perfect sense. Once you make enough profit and you can start stacking some money away, now you can invest in process. And it's really simple. It can be something as simple as a simple CRM package to help you manage your marketing and your clients and your follow-up. So it can be something really simple like CRM, your process. It's then and only then when you have a product or service that you've proven that you can put into the marketplace, you can make money doing it, you've got a process to support it, then and only then can you find people worthy to come work for you. Because here's the truth. Good people will never work for shitty owners. It's fact, right? So your 4 Ps, if you want to get to a $3 million business, that order and sequencing will put you there. Promote, profit, process, and people. Does that make sense? Don't think that, you opened up a salon, a hair salon, that the first thing you need to do is go find the first person that can cut hair. No. You need to cut hair first. You got to start there. Does that make sense? Most businesses fail above $3 million because they get this sequencing out of order. Promote, profit, process, people, in that order. If you do that in that order, you will grow, you will scale to $3 million like that. If you need help with that, I can talk to you about that. But that's tried and true. 27,000 businesses of research has proven to us that it works. Okay? Now, going beyond that. So I love to work in the sweet spot of about 25 million and beyond, right? So it's a business that says, hey, I'm at 25, but I want to get to 100. How do I do that? Here's where it gets really hairy. And here's why most businesses fail. To scale at that level, there's a sequence of 10 events or 10 elements that have to be put into place. And we're not going to go into detail on this right now, but I'd be happy to talk about this later or as follow-up. There are 10 events that have to happen in exact sequence to build a $25 million business. Within those 10 elements, there are 78 sub-elements that have to be executed strategically and tactically in the exact order. Exact order. So this is why most businesses fail in 10 years, and 2/3 of them fail in 5 years. It's just, number one, they don't know what the elements are. They don't know how to put them in order. And they think, well, let me just throw money at it, let me throw people at it, let me expand my product base at it, and they figure, why am I not scaling? Doesn't work. If you don't have these 78 elements in the exact specific order, you can't scale into the multi-millions of dollars of business. So if you want to have that follow-up conversation, email, Instagram, you can get in touch with me. Rhonda knows how to get in touch with me. We can share this. I'm sure you'll have a list of who's here and all that kind of stuff. So there are 2 rules of thumb that I really want to leave you with as we relate this. What do we got here? The 4 Ps. What do we had after that?
Brick wall one.
Yeah. So the brick wall, kind of, we talked about that. Yep. Okay. Oh, yeah. So I want to talk to you about high-performance teams real quick. So if I asked all of the business owners here if you could relate your business to a high-performance race car, would you want a high-performance race car? I think we all would say, yeah, I want my business to perform at its maximum capacity. I would love that high-performance race car. And when we have these kind of conversations, I always tell business owners, be really careful what you wish for. Okay, because you can build a business up, but without the foundation, it's going to collapse under its own weight. So just like a race car, it's one thing to have that race car, but it's another thing to have a driver who's professionally trained how to navigate that car. It's about having a pit crew, an owner, and the sponsor, all the things that go along with racing. You can't just get into a high-performance race car and expect to go around the track and compete. You're going to crash. You're going to crash quickly. Okay, so be careful what you wish for as you start to scale. But as it relates to high-performance teams, for those of you that have teams, is there anybody in the room who has 4 employees or more? Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to crack the code on you on something here. So we all are familiar with the CIA. I'm going to give you a CIA secret. There's this thing called the CIA Animal Kingdom. When the CIA puts together its covert ops teams, when the Navy SEALs put together, when the Navy SEALs put together their 4-man fire teams, they use this thing called the Animal Kingdom. And in that Animal Kingdom, they identify people's personalities and performance with animals. And there's a bear, there's a lion, there's a cheetah, and there's a fox. And all four of the elements or attitudes or characteristics of those four animals have to be present on that team for that team to be a high-performance team. So your bear, as you can imagine, is like the cuddler, the relationship, right? The one who's making sure the team is happy. Everybody's cohesive and we're all moving in the right direction, kumbaya, right? Every Navy SEAL team has that person. Every covert ops team has that person, okay? And they also have a lion. Lion is your leader, right? It's the one who inspires. It's the one that says, yeah, I can get behind this guy or this gal and follow them into battle or into whatever. So you've got your bear and you've got your lion. And you've got your cheetah, okay? I happen to be dominantly a cheetah. And by the way, you have multiple traits. My strong one is cheetah. Your cheetah is the one that just says, let's freaking go. Like, we'll worry about the details later. Let's run. Let's go. We'll figure it out as we go. Okay, you have to have that person on your team. The fourth one is the fox. You can probably guess what the fox is. Your fox is your strategist, right? It's the one who's saying, whoa, 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 cheetah, like slow down just a little bit. Let's put some thought behind what we're about to go do. Let's put a little bit of strategy. Like, we can't wing it the whole thing, right? So you've got those four, your bear, your lion, your cheetah, and your fox. So as you're building out your teams, look for those qualities, because if you're looking for a salesperson, just because they've excelled in sales in an industry, might be your own or another, doesn't mean they're necessarily the right fit for your team, right? It's not just based on their performance. It's based on what do they bring to the table as it fits into that four animal quadrants, right? They have to bring something that you don't currently have. Does that make sense? Is that clear? It's so important. How many times do you work with somebody who you think is going to be the best employee you've ever had? Either in corporate or your own business, you go, oh my gosh, this girl's going to be a rock star. She's done this, and this. And 6 months in, you're going, shit, she hasn't done jack. What's going on here? It's probably because you got the wrong characteristics plugged in with the wrong characteristics. So think about that. And then, what else? Was there anything left? Okay, probably a minute or two. Oh yeah, let's get to the giveaways. So, giveaways. I'm going to step out here. So it is Christmas time, right? So there are some free gifts. So let's just jump through these real quick. I've got some things for you, some things to give away. As you promote your business, this all ties into the 4 Ps, okay? Anybody ever interested in exposing your brand, personal or professional brand, by doing podcasts? Anybody ever want to do podcasts? Of course, okay? So what I want to give you here, on the right side of that screen is what's called a podcast one sheet. I'll give you that template. You plug it in, okay? And then you take the email template here on the left side of the screen, you send that out to people who host podcasts, and you will get booked as a guest on podcasts. In the middle there is a little thing that I'll give you as well. I have a list of 2,700 podcast owners who are looking for guests every single day. It's in an Excel document. I can provide that to you in an email. Gives you the name, phone number, email address of that podcast owner. You can reach out with that email template, that one sheet, and you will get booked on podcasts more than you would imagine. So if you want that, it's a free gift. We'll make it available to you. What's the other one, Andrew? Oh yeah, you skipped one. It's okay. So we'll go back to it. So the profit planner. This is a free tool that we give out to you as well. This ties together everything that we've been talking about with regards to the numbers. So you can go into this profit planner, which is made available by 10X, through the Cardone ecosystem, where in about 180 seconds, you can plug in some key numbers in your business, and it will tell you exactly who and when you need to hire in order to accommodate the revenue numbers you're trying to get to, and it will break it down for you, and you can use it as a roadmap. It's a free tool. It's absolutely powerful if you're under $3 million a year. So if you want that tool, I can get you to a place where you can download that and take advantage of that. The last 2 things is, last year I wrote a social media guide. It's current as of late 2023. If you want that, we can send that to you. And then the first book that I wrote here was talking about limiting beliefs. How to self-talk your way through what we talked about at the beginning here. You have fears, you have doubts, you have misguided beliefs about who you are and what your purpose is. I wrote a book around that story. It's digital, so I can give it away. So any of these gifts resources. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go, if you would all follow me oh, imposter syndrome, do I have time? Okay, so the imposter syndrome, can I go back to that?
Yeah, we'll go back to start with that.
Imposter syndrome, so there's a copy of my new book. It's called Keep Grinding. Can I please have a hand for my new book? Please. James loves this. I thank James for putting this up. So here's this crazy thing about that book. That book has been in process for 3 years. It's not even close to being finished. But I keep telling everybody that I'm writing a book. What I'm really telling you, and we're all guilty of this, we all succumb to imposter syndrome at times. Stop that shit. And you know why? Because everybody around you knows when you're being an imposter. So just be you. Be the real you. Okay? That book I've actually put aside because I've been asked to write a different book, which actually did happen, that comes out in February. It's called Success. It's actually a real book. This one is still in the making. My point is, just be you. You don't have to feed us all a line of shit on what you're doing, where you've been. Number one, nobody cares. We really don't care. Okay? Just be the real you. What's that saying? Perfection. What did I say earlier, Tim? Perfection is what? Yeah, perfection is unrelatable. Right? You see a social media post with somebody all dialed up and filtered out, and you're like, who's that? Right? But I'll show you a picture of me drinking my coffee in the morning with my hair standing up. Much more relatable, because it's really me. Okay, I gotta go here, so last thing real quick. So you can find me at PC, which are just my initials, Paul Clewell, PC 10X Official. Okay, you can scan that barcode, but we can change info here throughout the day. So again, just to wrap this up, if you're a business owner and you want to scale, I can help you. I'm not saying you need to hire me. You're saying I can help you. We can have conversations. I'll leave you with the last two things. If you're doing $500,000 a year in your business and you're ready to hire somebody, now is the time. And here's why. Oh, here's the two rules I wanted to tell you. If you're doing $250,000 in your business per employee, so if it's just you and you're doing $250,000 a year, you are in no position to hire anybody. Because your revenue margins on $250,000 a year are about 15 to 18%. There's no money to hire anybody to do anything. But when you get to $500,000 on your own, now you're ready to hire somebody, right? Because with that second person, now you can go to $1 million, the two of you. So there's your sweet spots. 250K to 500K is the range you want to play in. So if your revenue is at $600,000, $700,000, and it's just you, you're working too hard. You need to hire somebody, right? And that drops that average back to like $300,000 per employee. Then you start to build, right? And then when you get to that next break point, you build again. And I'm happy to have that conversation because we've got to go here and move on. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for supporting Rhonda's cause, Holiday Dreams. I love it. It's why I'm all the way here from Atlanta. So if you haven't already helped us make a magical Christmas for some family this year, please do so. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
On the stage, or do you want to come on the stage?
Okay, we're going to break for a quick second because we're getting ready. Paul's going to be coming back because one of Paul's clients is Super Bowl champ, Tim Wright.